Okay, so I just want to quickly run through how to use this app on phet simulations. So this is the systems part of the Hooke's Law app on the phet simulations website, and what this allows us to do is combine springs in series and parallel to see what effects they have on each other. So if we look at the app first of all, we've got the spring here and we've got a loading arm here which allows us to apply a force to the right or to the left, which is positive or negative. You can either change the force applied by pulling on the little toggle, or you can go down to the scale here and you can change it a bit more precisely. The spring constant for each spring is set using these two toggles down the bottom. So you can either sort of click these arrows to get it go up by 10, or you can move these, and you can have different spring constants for each spring. To change it from series to parallel, or parallel to series, so here you can see we've got a parallel combination because we've got two springs on top of each other. But if you look over here on the right, you can see that we've got this configuration which is parallel, and the one next to it is series. And it's exactly the same thing, except now they're laid out slightly differently. You can change the spring constants independently and then the force applied. So one thing that is useful to have, if you want, you can look at the applied force and it'll give you a little arrow, but you can also flick the values button and that'll tell us what that applied force is. So if we look at the spring force, this is the force for the purple and the yellow spring. If you turn that on, it'll tell you what force those springs are exerting on this hook. And then you can fiddle about with, like, either you want them combined or in their components or whatever. But the one that you need to use for the next few questions is this one on displacement. So you might want to have displacement, the equilibrium position, and the values turned on. So the equilibrium position is just where the springs would be if I wasn't applying any force. And then the values turns on the number, and displacement gives me a little arrow showing me how far they've gone. And so using those numbers and the force and the spring constants I apply, I can look at what happens when I have springs in parallel and springs in series. And that's what we're going to be doing for the next few minutes.